The movie begins with Carter, a family man enjoying life in his home in a beautiful countryside in the United States, while his young son Sam plays with his dog and tosses his balloon into the air. Years pass, and what seemed like an idyllic life has turned into a nightmare for Carter, as his son has died. In the same cemetery where Sam was buried, a little girl nicknamed Bird arrives to pay respects to her deceased parents, who had given her a camera before they died. Filled with curiosity, Bird takes photos of a nearby funeral for someone named Caton. Suddenly, the priest drops to the ground, shot by a sniper in the woods. Immediately, the bodyguard at the location draws his weapon, but ends up meeting the same fate as the priest. After that, the sniper approaches Caton's wife, who seems to recognize that her husband's criminal acts have consequences. Despite the woman offering a deal, the sniper removes his ski mask, revealing himself as Sade, a hitman who was hired to tie up loose ends. Since the woman has seen his face, her fate is sealed: death. However, Sade is unaware that Bird took several photos of him from a distance while he was piling the bodies into Caton's grave. Right away, the little girl runs to her Uncle Roger's car, though he was in the cemetery looking for her. Spotting Sade covering the grave, Roger mistakes him for a gravedigger and asks if he has seen his niece. Just as she appears, Sade shoots Roger in the head. Remember what happens if you see his face. After that, the hitman points his gun at Bird, but he pauses upon noticing her camera, giving her time to flee. In the next scene, we return to Carter's house, which has descended into chaos since he fell into depression following his son's death. Amid his despair, he hears the cries of a desperate girl, Bird, seeking refuge from the killer. Carter doesn't hesitate to open the door and offer help, but the moment he asks what's going on, the hitman shoots him in the leg. Carter then readies his shotgun and greets Sade with a blast to his side, returning the favor. Even so, the hitman continues his hunt from the lower floor of the house, while Carter and Bird take cover upstairs. To ward him off, Carter claims he called the police, but when Sade checks the phone, he finds the line is dead. As for Carter's cell phone, he forgot it on the lower floor. Given the situation, Sade demands Carter hand over the girl, as she's the only one who's seen his face. For a few seconds, Carter considers the offer, especially because of his leg wound, yet he refuses when he sees Bird's terrified expression. Furious, the hitman snarls that the house will be their tomb, but for the moment, they agree to a truce to tend to their wounds. With Bird's help, Carter smashes a handful of light bulbs and scatters the glass on the stairs so they'll know if Sade tries to come up. Carter takes the opportunity to learn more about the girl, and she reveals that her parents died in a car accident. Bird then asks why no one has come to help them. Carter explains that he's the only resident in the area since the big companies abandoned it. Speaking of desperate situations, Carter admits he only has one shotgun shell left and hopes the hitman doesn't find out. Despite their predicament, Bird thanks him for helping her, and they formally introduce themselves. At that moment, Carter notices her camera and asks her for the roll of film containing Sade's photo. Meanwhile, the hitman rummages through Carter's personal belongings and discovers a picture of Carter in military attire with his wife and son. Seeing this, Sade exclaims that he too was in the military and greets Carter sarcastically. During the hitman's monologue, Carter hands the roll of film back to Bird inside a bag, telling her to hide it in the toilet tank. Because his targets won't come downstairs, Sade threatens to burn the house down. Carter tells him the photo roll is protected and will survive the fire, enraging Sade. In another location, we meet Baker, a rookie cop who, while on patrol, finds Roger's car alongside Caton's wife's vehicle. Later, Carter starts dozing off from exhaustion, recalling the day his life changed forever. It turns out his son Sam was playing with his balloon and jumping around when he tripped and hit his head on a rock. Carter couldn't do anything since he had fallen asleep. Haunted by these memories, Carter asks Bird to go to the attic to get some liquor. The girl returns with something extra, a stuffed toy belonging to Carter's son. Seeing this, Carter becomes furious and orders her to put it back. Meanwhile, Sade finds a letter written by Carter in which he apologizes to his wife for having failed her and blames himself for Sam's death. Sade reacts with laughter while Carter starts to break down. Taking advantage of the situation, the hitman suggests Carter put a bullet in his head, but Carter stands his ground, calming Bird's nerves and promising to protect her with his life. Moved, the girl thanks him with a hug, saying she believes in him. This tender moment is interrupted by a warning shot from Sade, just to remind them he's waiting for them to slip up. However, that gunshot is heard by Baker, who was investigating the cemetery. With Sade's threats intensifying, Carter points out that Sade's stomach wound is more severe and will kill him if he doesn't get medical attention. The hitman starts showing symptoms, but nothing matters more to him than the hunt. Seconds later, the lights begin to flicker. Carter remembers he hasn't refilled the generator in the basement for days, meaning the house will go dark at night, leaving them at the mercy of a professional hitman. Carter has no intention of allowing that, so he opens a window for Bird to escape. At the same time, Baker approaches the property. Sade puts on his ski mask again to greet the officer. As soon as Baker knocks on the door, Sade shoots him in the chest. Just as the hitman steps out to confirm the kill, Bird climbs down from the roof but is forced to climb back up. Then, the dying Baker tries to reach for his gun, but Sade knocks him out with a blow. After hiding the police cruiser in a nearby hangar, Sade limps back to the house, something Carter notices from the balcony. Despite being in his crosshairs, Sade remains calm, saying that Carter's gun is useless at long range and daring him to shoot. Carter responds that he doesn't want to kill unless necessary. Sade reminds him that Carter greeted him with a shotgun blast, deducing that Carter has only one shell left. Quickly, Sade pulls out his revolver, forcing Carter to retreat inside. Sade then wakes Baker, who is tied to a chair on the lower floor, and forces him to talk about his family. Sade notes that neither Carter nor the officer has seen his face, so if Carter hands over Bird, they can call it even and spare Baker's life. 2 lives in exchange for 1. Carter refuses, so Sade starts breaking Baker's fingers with a hammer to provoke him. When the protagonist refuses to budge, Sade executes Baker and throws his body onto the stairs. Afterwards, Sade declares he will remain silent until Carter hands over the girl or until Sade kills them both. Hearing nothing but silence for a while, Carter becomes uneasy and yells that he will hand over the girl. Again, no response. He deduces that Sade has left the house and goes downstairs to wait. Once there, Carter notices Sade's boots on the floor. He has climbed to the upper floor from outside using a ladder. Hearing footsteps, Bird thinks it's Carter and reveals she's hiding in the bathroom. Immediately, the hitman points his gun at the door, but Carter appears behind him and fires. Although he doesn't get a clean hit, the shot causes Sade to lose his balance and fall down the glass-covered stairs. Even so, the assassin gets up, thirsting for revenge. This won't end until he decides so. Fed up with the situation, he improvises a Molotov cocktail to set the house on fire, or so it seems. Suddenly, he stops, remembering he has Carter's personal phone. As night falls, Sade's wound worsens. Taking advantage of his vulnerability, Carter starts asking questions about his past and how he turned into the monster he is. Sade admits that his first kill affected him deeply, to the point of insomnia, but over time he grew to like his work. Hours later, Sade is alarmed by the headlights of a car parking outside. When Carter looks out, he sees his wife, Mara, in the clutches of the hitman, who apparently found her number in Carter's phone. Sade threatens to shoot her unless Carter hands over the girl and the roll of film. It appears Carter is about to comply by handing over Bird, but instead he only hands over his shotgun. Frightened, Bird asks what he's planning to do, and he replies that he's going to visit his son. Carter calmly goes downstairs, announcing that he is not going to harm the girl, so Sade should find her himself. After waiting so long for nothing, the hitman removes his mask, giving himself an excuse to shoot Carter in the leg. Sade promises that the next shot will be lethal if Bird doesn't show herself. Against Carter's orders, the girl appears with the shotgun, though Sade uses Mara as a shield. Suddenly, the lights start to flicker again. Carter seizes the moment, lunging at Sade to stab him with a knife. However, the hitman manages to shoot Carter in the process. Once the fight ends, Bird approaches a dying Sade to finish him off, but discovers the shotgun is out of shells. Seeing her predicament, Sade points his pistol at Bird, who dares him to pull the trigger. Surprisingly, Sade looks offended, insisting he's not a monster, right before he dies. Bird then rushes to Carter, begging him to wake up. Fortunately, the badly injured man regains consciousness, and she thanks him for saving her life. However, Carter responds that he was only returning the favor. In the final scene, we see Carter holding birds in Mara's hands as they wait for an ambulance.
If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.